Me and Jason, we go way back since the very beginning of my men's physique career. Jason was one of the original men's physique IFBB pros. I like to call it the first generation of athletes, that first class of pros that were inducted into the IFBB Pro League. He was amongst the first, I think probably the first 10. And I watched him as an amateur compete with pros and a lot of the guys I looked up to a lot, and him being one of them. I remember in my last amateur show in LA, Jason was competing as a pro in that same show, and that's where I saw him for the first time in person. And he was one of the elite, so it was really cool to have turned pro and to have go against some of the best in my pro debut, where I competed against Jason for the very first time in New Orleans. And that was the first time me and him actually got to meet more on a personal level. And he was one of the top guys going into that show, and it was one of those competitions where I was a new guy coming in, and Jason being around for a while, that he was kind of like the main guy going into that show. So I had my eye out for him, and that's kind of where our competition career started out. And we weren't really friends at the beginning. It was more just competitors, and had mutual respect for each other. And we competed in 2013 Olympia, where I took second place, and I believe Jason took fifth place. So we're both top 5 at the first ever men's physique Olympia. And still we weren't really friends, more competitors around that time. And we just battled all year long, got both our qualifications again for Olympia in 2014, where I won my first title. And that's kind of where Jason and I became friends. And ever since then, it's pretty much been me and him. As far as my friends within the IFBB Pro League, I don't have too many of them. There's not many two people you can trust that are really out there for your best interests. And Jay is somebody that has excelled within the fitness industry. We got a lot of years ahead of us, and whether we're on stage, whether we're in fitness, we got a bright future in anything we do, because we're hard workers and we fuel from each other. So you'll see me and Jason many years from now.
So rewind all the way to 2012. I had gotten my pro card, and I knew originally that this division was going to get better. And I predicted that and told everyone that we hadn't seen the best yet. Everyone thought they were the best. There was a lot of cocky guys out there. But then came this young guy from California, and he popped onto the pro scene very quickly. And I was doing my thing, but it was hard not to notice Jeremy coming up, because he was undefeated, and people were talking about this undefeated, and I say kid because he was young. He was really young back then. He was like 22, 23. I was 29, and we ended up doing the same pro show. And at that pro show, I was simply there. I was there to win, but I was simply there just to actually visit family. But backstage, I could tell Jeremy was there to win. And he took that serious. He's coming off his pro card winning show. And so he won that show, and he deserved that win. And that was my first impression of Jeremy, was this dude came and won his pro debut amongst veteran physique guys like me and a couple other guys there who had already, been placing well. And so he immediately made an impact. And so I knew he was going to be someone that I was going to be battling on stage for years to come. In this sport, in this life, I always suggest surrounding yourself with greatness. Surround yourself with people that have like-minded goals and a like-minded work ethic, like-minded morals. It ended up being a very tight battle at Olympia. You were top 3 for a couple years. Jeremy was victorious both those years, but I was always chasing him. But people couldn't understand the fact that there wasn't any animosity between us, and it's a matter of respect that I think a lot of people can learn from. And just because you're both battling for the same trophy, title, money, job position, whatever, it doesn't mean you have to disrespect each other. And in this sport, it really is you versus you. So I never really felt like I was against Jeremy. I thought like we were both together, and then it was just going to come down to that one day on stage, and Jeremy would win, I would be third. I can't say that I'll be happier for anyone else though. Had somebody else won, I don't know that I would have had the same feeling.
chest. Up. 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 Up.